in the office around 3:30. People always ask me, when do you sleep?
You don't
So
sleep.
I do sleep. Fortunately enough, I have a great team and have built a really good and trusted group of resources around me.
It looks like we have a totally separate second structure back here as well. What's going on with this?
Yeah, 2-car garage with storage, and then above that there's a 1-1 apartment.
Oh, perfect. So this could be a great Airbnb, rental, whatever it is.
It's going to be beautiful.
So I got my real estate license about 19 years ago now.
Okay.
I started for a family, Russo Real Estate here in Teaneck, who at that time controlled the Teaneck market. And they just taught me how to do business with people, how to treat people right, do good for others, do what's right for people, don't worry about the commission check. And that's kind of like been my mentality ever since.
Today we're on Greenwood Lake on the Jersey side, where I actually happen to live myself and do most of my business. This is the second biggest lake in New Jersey, and personally one of my favorite spots on earth.
I'm Charlie Weiss, your South Florida mortgage expert and host of American Dream Palm Beach.
I don't know if you guys know, but Fort Lauderdale was the Venetia of the United States. So everything is a lot more beautiful from the water to the land.
That's exciting.
Super exciting.
This is the last oceanfront property in Fort Lauderdale. You got 450 feet on the sand. We have a brand new restaurant there for residences and guests. You have 150 units on site, and you have top-notch amenities. This is the main pool. You have the hot tub. You have beach service. I'll show you a couple more amenities, and we'll go up to the unit.
Hey everybody, it's Glenn Asher, the Title Guy. Hope everybody is doing well. We're here on Thursday to bring you another State of the Marketing. This week, we feature panelists from New Jersey, Florida, downtown Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and our mortgage expert, Charlie Weiss, up in Palm Beach and West Palm. So hope everybody is doing well. I'd like to introduce the panel to you today. So starting off, the incomparable David Mortar, broker owner of Level Realty. David, thanks for joining us. Everybody take their mute off. Hey, Carl. Carl Gentile up in Palm Beach. Hey, Carl with eXp Realty.
Hey, Glenn. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. We have Mark Stein. Hey, Mark. CEO of Links Residential at eXp Realty.
How everyone?
We have Mr. Sell himself, Peter Contraforis. Hey, Peter, how are you?
Glenn, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. We have my client and friend for 14 years, Mr. Charlie Weiss, up in Palm Beach with Cardinal Financial. Hey, Charles.
Hey there, guys. How you doing?
And finally, we bring you the in-house broker for one of the trophy buildings in all of Florida's history, Mariana Lima with Cervera Real Estate at the Aston Martin Residences. Hi, Mariana.
Hello, guys. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to go through a few general questions talking about the state of the market. We're going to target certain questions for certain individuals. I'm the title guy at Kensington Vanguard. We do title nationally. We're the largest privately held title company in the United States. I'm coming to you live from our Brickell office in Miami, one of the 3 offices in South Florida. We have offices in New York, New Jersey, Texas, Arizona, soon to be Georgia, Maryland, Virginia, DC, and out in the Hamptons. So thanks again for joining us. All of this will be available post interview panel at askthetitleguy.com, where you will find the state of the marketing. If you have any questions for the panelists, feel free to ask on my Facebook. We will get back to you. We will be showing everyone's information in case anyone wants to reach out to one of the panelists directly. And let's get started. So first question we'll bring to you, David Martyr. David, what makes you
Can
different
you hear me, Glenn?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
All right.
What makes you different than any other agent out there right now and broker, newly broker, and your growth has been exponential in the last couple of months with Level, so congratulations. And how have you used this time period of kind of disarray with COVID and everything going on in the world to benefit your business model, especially you, considering, you know, you just opened, and how many agents do you have already?
We have 32 agents.
32 agents. So leadership
Yeah, we opened
is
in January. We closed a month and a half later. Everyone went into their bunker. You know, I was basically turning the lights on in January, and then about 3-4 weeks ago, we reached back out to some of the core team we wanted to start here, and the last few weeks everyone's joined. So it's been a rush, and we're excited. And Level is new, so I appreciate you you know, giving me the shout out. And I don't know if I cut you off there. Were you finishing up your question for me?
No. So how have you used this time, David, to kind of to get your business off the ground for yourself, and what makes you guys at Level and you yourself as a broker owner different than your competition?
So I use the time personally to do a little bit of recruiting, calling out to some of my favorite agents that I've worked with over the years and say, hey, I started my own thing. In addition, a few months ago, I started noticing that when I drove through neighborhoods, if there was 10 yard signs in a neighborhood, COVID hit, and now there was 3 or maybe 4. So I reached out to people that I knew really wanted to sell, and I gave them some unconventional advice at the time. I was actually interviewed on another show and told that interviewer the same thing, which was, I think we're in an artificial seller's market. This was about 60 days ago. And I said, if you really want to sell right now, do it. And don't be scared of COVID. You know, I think people had some real concerns about people coming into their homes, but if you were able to do that safely, what happened was, if the real buyers out there had less inventory to choose from. So we did very well the last few months, especially in single family in Fort Lauderdale, taking sellers who thought everything was going to crash and tell them, no, it's simple economics, supply and demand. And the stats came out just a few weeks ago, Glenn, and it was, yeah, scary headlines, 35, 36% down in South Florida, overall sales, but medium sale price went up. In addition to that, the actual purchase price, the asking price went up. So there was a lot of strong indicators that sellers did well. We had less overall sales, but there was real buyers and real sellers. So I call it an artificial seller's market, because I don't want to come out here and preach that the world is 100% back to normal, but during those 60 days, you could sell real estate.
Yep. Thanks, David. And we'll take it over to Carl. The market in Palm Beach is on fire, kind of like the Jersey market right now. So Carl, how are you? How you been handling things differently as you know, as an agent up in Palm Beach?
First, Glenn, thanks for having us here. This is great what you're putting together. So I think, you know, when you looked at it in the pandemic, everything shut down right off the bat, right? We lost 42% of pending home sales here in Jupiter and Palm Beach. Everything dropped significantly. But what we did see is that, you know, a lot of individuals in these high densely populated metropolitans, New York, New Jersey, Boston, Chicago, California, started to really consider and think about quality of life. And, you know, the quality of life in comparison of Palm Beach to New York, living in the city, is significantly different. And what that has done, you know, and what that gave us is the opportunity to really look at, you know, how we set up our business and how we set up our network, right? And what I did with during this time is I used that to reach out to other brokers across the nation, across the country. And what that's done is built this incredible referral network, because these individuals from these big cities are moving here, and they're moving here in drones. And since we've opened, phase 1 was 3 weeks ago now, I think it was. Since then, since the middle of May, we've actually seen a 45% increase in pending home sales here in Jupiter and the Palm Beaches, northern Palm Beaches, which is absolutely incredible. Buyers are out there. Buyers are sending sight unseen offers from out of state. People want to move here. So I think, David hit it right on the head there. For the sellers that are really interested in selling and they can overcome that fear of having COVID and having people come through their properties, things like that, there's a huge opportunity right now because our inventory levels are at rock bottom, historic lows. We have 2.8 months of inventory in the market, under 500,000 in this area, which is incredibly low. It's historic low levels. And, and the last thing in the luxury market, what we've seen is normally our season ends around April 15th here for that luxury market. But this is extended. We're seeing a huge increase in inventory right now as sellers in that category are having huge confidence because they know what's going on. They know people from New York, California, these big cities are moving here, and they're moving here quickly to try and escape, the dense population that they're experiencing right now. So I think it's a great time for a lot of people.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate your responses, and Mark runs a large team at Links Realty. I know he's crushing business right now. Newly over to EXP, and Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with you? I know the Jersey market is literally on fire. What did you say? You had 40 contracts and 40 deals in contract in 3 weeks?
Yeah. So here in northern New Jersey, the market is ridiculously on fire. There's so many people coming from Manhattan, the Bronx, Staten Island, all looking to come to Jersey, all looking for, bigger properties, pools, backyards, outdoor kitchens. So we've changed our focus on how we market now. Instead of just marketing at the house itself and all the attributes, we're really focusing on that like outdoor space and where people can bring their families and enjoy life. So that's been our focus. I mean, the last 60 plus days, we've kind of, re-engineered our team. We spent a lot of time focusing on education. Many of my agents took a lot of classes to make themselves better agents and make sure that we have the top agents in the area. And we've been really just focusing on that. We pride ourselves on being project managers, not just realtors and sales associates. So our, project management plan for either a buyer or a seller really goes into detail on every little aspect that needs to go into making sure that either a buyer or seller is taken care of from the moment they start thinking about real estate till they close, and then even afterwards. And then the last 3-4 weeks, we've actually focused on making sure all the small businesses are able to reopen and helping them promote themselves within their local towns and communities, making sure to show Bergen County that, we're not just looking to sell houses, but we're looking to help build the economy back up, get their names out there, get their specials out there, help them out with different things. So we're really focusing on, a community-based, approach in our sales tactics, and it's paying off big time by everyone realizing that, we know about many different towns. We can give you the ins and outs. We can introduce you to the business owners, and, take you out, to wherever you need, in terms of what you want for your house. And just that little extra touch of thought that we put into it, makes us a higher level of agent than anyone else in the area.
Thank you, Mark, and congratulations on your success. On to you, Mr. Sell. Peter, what are you doing differently? I know you're super busy and always there for your clients. I know we had a bunch of closings recently, so thank you. And how are you separating yourself from every other agent right now?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Glenn. But yeah, kind of just, other top producer on this panel saying just, trying to work harder than all the competition and, just trying to do stuff differently. When COVID first hit, it was like, what do we do? And, I wasn't even leaving the house for the first month at all. And then I'm like, we got to do something. And, what are ways that to stand out and, be busy, keep being busy, but, be safe at the same time. So, I started playing the game, wearing the mask, wearing the gloves, going on listing appointments. I mean, I never used Zoom before, and now I use Zoom pretty well. I started doing 3D imaging inside houses, more video content, virtual tours, anything I could do to just pick up business and get listings. And as the first gentleman was saying, reach out. I was reaching out to people that I knew wanted to sell, that might have been on that maybe they just were listed last year at a previous time and the market kicked them around, or maybe they weren't getting. I reached out to them, everybody in my database, and I picked up a lot of listings just in the last few weeks. And I've had a couple houses listed last year that we've only had, we got maybe a dozen showings, no offers. Now we're looking at multiple offers. It seems like there's 5 buyers for every house that I'm listing right now, which is, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that before COVID. I haven't seen that since I started real estate back in 2014. So, I mean, it seems like it's a good market. I do really think we are stepping into a seller's market. Where I am, I'm based an hour outside of New York City. I'm licensed in New Jersey and New York. Most of my business is in New Jersey, where I am. I'm like northern Passaic County, bordering Sussex County, and a lot of people leave the city. They want more yard space. They want they realize they need more space than a 22 square foot place, maybe in the city, Hoboken, Jersey City. So they're coming up. Yard space is more important than tools, the back. And I'm just noticing, I would say probably 90% of the people I've dealt with in the last 3 weeks have been county or the city. And it might be a primary residence, or it might. A lot of people are saying, all right, well, we have a place in the city, now how to buy a weekend house because we realized. But I mean, yeah, just to elaborate, I try not to let this whole thing scare me, and I try to, comfort all my buyers and sellers, making it as safe as possible and just make them with ease. I mean, interest rates are really good right now, and I think that's helping, and hopefully they stay that way. But yeah, I mean, I've upped my advertising, and it seems to be working. So,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you.
I see you're busy as well. And that was a perfect segue, talking about mortgage rates, into our buddy Charlie Weiss over at Cardinal. Charlie, what have you been doing? What are you seeing? And what have you done over the last couple of months to kind of deal with this worldly issue?
I mean, really, the only difference has been mostly working from home with 2 little kids has been a little different. But we've been able to actually keep our volume's been up actually. Really, February was our only slow month leading into this, and then it really picked up when rates dropped, like you just said, and we've seen a lot of refinance, action going on, but back into the the purchase market again. We're seeing people coming from all over the place. Like everyone was saying before, people are realizing that they're stuck at home and they want to, they're looking into bigger backyard space. I mean, the first month of this, March into April, I mean, we had been working from home the whole time. Let's see, it was the first week of March, Cardinal put out, work from home orders, and with the technology that we have, everyone was able to work from home. With 2 little kids there, it was difficult. I'm really surprised that I was able to get as much done at home as at the office. But we were in the pool every single day, and some people up north were calling, going, "What do you mean you're in the pool? And it's cold up here. The weather stinks." And we are seeing those people moving down. They had a closing yesterday. Somebody called me at the beginning of COVID, and they were looking into a second home. They're not really ready to make the full move down here yet, but trying to get an idea of what area they want to be in when they do move, kind of kicking the tires of living and working in Florida. And we've seen everyone's pretty much been able to do that. I mean, really, what makes us different is we are a nationwide lender. I happen to focus on New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Florida, where I live. But we have a boutique kind of feel to us. It's only myself and my business partner Matt that deal with all the agents and their clients. They're not kicked around to a bunch of different people, handling every little thing. Our technology here really lets us be hands-on with the buyer without them having to do anything. They can upload everything, but really don't have to do much. And it's only Matt and myself dealing with the files. So you have a mortgage expert on it the whole time. Nothing gets lost. We're able to turn things around very quickly, and we have a concierge approach to everything. So we've been able to pick up extra business. A lot of these banks have been adding overlays, making it more difficult to close on a loan. We actually haven't had any additional overlays. I wouldn't say that we've made it easier to close on a home than before COVID, but it hasn't been any more difficult. And we're picking up business from agents that we really hadn't worked with that much, that their lender wasn't either answering the phone, didn't have the ability in the first month to work from home and do all the same business that they were doing, and our volume actually doubled in April. So a lot of that had to do with refis, but we really haven't seen a slowdown in purchase applications. There was only 1 week where I noticed a little pullback in that, and I think people were just kind of watching. And down here, everyone, maybe the market's going to drop 10%. And it didn't. I mean, we've seen it go up. We saw volume, go down a little bit, but the prices have stayed firm, and with rates low, people are still able to buy.
Awesome. So thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. Appreciate the business and the insight, Charlie.
It's always fun working with you.
Charlie and I have been working together for a long time, and he takes care of his clients very well. And like you said, is a very boutique shop and very pliable to the business and in different facets. So Charlie, thank you for your insight. We'll move on to Mariana. Mariana comes from us in Miami. Are you at the Sales Gallery, one of my favorite spots right now?
Yeah, I can't complain with my view, right, Glenn?
Exactly. So Mariana's in-house for a new development project from Severa Real Estate called the Aston Martin Residences, which is a world-renowned building that's unbelievable. So if you get a chance to take a look, it's going to be the trophy building in South Florida, right in the corner of Brickell into downtown. So Mariana, how have you been dealing with this on the new development side?
It's very curious. I mean, I'm originally from Brazil, and coming from a country that every 5 years there's a crisis. And I mean, not only me, but I feel like the entire Miami is a melting pot of different cultures, that people were not really scared of crisis. I think the way we approach it was really as an opportunity to do things that we knew we had to do it, but we never had the time to do it. So there was a lot of technology things that we had to embrace and make it better, make it easier for a client, because once you're inside here and I can show you this view, it's a very easy sell. But once the client is not here locally, we have to do things better. What we have experienced here at Aston, and it was all over the news, during COVID, we sold over $8.5 million. And the reason why, it's because, many of you already mentioned, but people are really rethinking the way they live. So before all this happened, we would have a lot of New Yorkers here. They say, that's all amazing, but I don't think I can move my company. And then after, a month working from home, they realize, yeah, I can do, basically anything, anywhere. My kids can go to school, and, a matter of fact, we have amazing schools, one of the best schools in America is here, down the corner. So I have a feeling that everybody that was thinking of moving it is just clicked. And reality is, as you mentioned, this is a project that, like, there's nothing like it around here. This is the last piece of land where the river meets the bay. We're gonna have 4 floors of like the most spectacular amenities, plus a beach club and a mega yacht to take the client to the beach club. So what we offer here for the price that the client can pay, it's really now that all the eyes were also, looking into opportunities, because, it happened to all of us that we did have, a little more time in our hands, but it also happened to our buyers. So Miami has seen an increasingly number of, well-qualified buyers that are coming like every month and even stronger. So that's basically how, we were able to be so successful during all this time.
Thank you. And like I said, Aston Martin is some project. I've been involved in that project a few different ways. We did a very big event there, like I do during Art Basel 2-3 years ago with 400 or 500 people, just to show the project, and it's had tremendous success, as it should, as one of the trophy brands, following the trend of trophy brands in other markets coming into South Florida, in condo buildings, starting with the Porsche and the Fendi and Aston Martin. So thank you, Mariana. David, we'll go to the next question, guys. Let's try to keep the answers a little bit briefer. So Dave, in a new environment at Level, how have you seen buyers and sellers activity increase? I know it's crazy busy right now. We spoke about something yesterday, actually, about deals being longer negotiations, buyers thinking that they have the upper hand, sellers saying, oh, we have the upper hand, and negotiations are just a lot more difficult, it seems like. Getting phone calls on a Monday to do title, send wiring instructions, call the buyer, and not get a contract for 4 or 5 days after, which is not typical. So see the question below. What can you attribute the rising interest outside of obviously COVID, but in Fort Lauderdale specifically, and what marketing strategies have you used to benefit?
Okay, so no, you're right. We had a cool conversation yesterday because we were talking about some of our tougher negotiations and deals. But before this, Florida was, and I'll round this, the second most, second highest increase of people coming into the state, right behind Texas, right? 1,000 a day in Texas, give or take, 950 in Florida. And now, I'm an ex-New Yorker and still have family there and love it, but we're even more attractive. Before this, there was advantageous reasons when it comes to taxes and, of course, weather and everything else. But I have clients that are calling me and saying that they don't want to live in buildings with thousands of people and ride the elevators with these new concerns. So that, I think, is a big contribution to the increase in activity, and I think everyone touched on that already. So to your other points, what did we do to really work with those clients is every real estate brokerage and agent company is trying to push that they're very tech savvy. We feel we really are. We launched this with the strategy of going full on with our technology capabilities, something I've been doing for years, and now I'm doing with all the agents here at Level, is taking advantage of all the SEO and PPC and retargeting campaigns that we can do anywhere in the country. So, one agent might have a bigger Rolodex than the other agent, more names in their phone book, but if you use some of the technology, the Google, the Facebooks, the Instagrams of the world, to reach clients and then to sell their homes on the listing side, we're really benefiting from that. So we're targeting the areas that we see people moving from, and we can track users on our website, their IP address, where they're searching, how often they're searching, what they're looking at, and then I can respond to those people appropriately, send them the type of properties that I see they're looking at, run my marketing campaigns in the areas that I see the highest demand. And we really see that from New York and from the city. That helped us move luxury. We took part in one of the largest dry lot sales in Fort Lauderdale histories recently, 6.1 million, which broke some records here. And we did that with our technology. In addition, and we did that in the middle of COVID. In addition to that, I don't want to act like we're just a luxury brand. So I have some pictures back here. I'm trying to give a shout out to my developer, Azure Equities. During this time, we're selling brand new pre-construction at $175,000 starting point. So investors haven't gone away. South American, Russian, and Chinese investors have come in, and not everyone's got $1 million to buy a new construction with or more. So having the right product has really helped us too, because we've been able to market all different types of real estate here. And lastly, Fort Lauderdale is a good balance between Palm Beach, which has a little bit older demographic, and Miami, which is a little bit bigger of a city. So, I think we're in a happy medium when it comes to that, and it's done us well. We like where we are.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. I agree. Fort Lauderdale is a little bit smaller and a different style of community than Miami and Palm Beach. So
it's a big little
congratulations
city
on your success.
Thank you.
Same question over to Carl. So Carl, what are you doing different strategy wise to gain interest and marketing wise?
Yeah, Glenn, I know, from our experience working together, I work heavily in that investment criteria with investment properties and different investors across the country looking to invest here in Palm Beach County. And what I've seen in that market is I've seen a huge shift. Before, the focus was B, C, and D class properties where investors were coming in, value adding properties, upping rents, trying to refinance, pull money out and recycle those funds, year over year, essentially. But with everything that's taken over with COVID, the laws that have changed as far as the eviction process, tenants getting, help from state and local laws, allowing them to miss rent payments or push off rent payments to later dates, which is, it's greatly affecting investors and landlords across the area, especially a lot that I work with, as tenants are seeing, oh, maybe they can push this farther than they can. And, now it's forcing a lot of landlords, and it's grabbing them by the hands and it's handcuffing them because they can't make the changes that they need to make to do what they have to accomplish. So what I've seen is a huge shift from the B, C, D value add opportunities into more of the class A properties. And what that's done is given, these investors more along the lines of a speculation investment. I don't like using that word, but they're looking at the demographics from, like we talked about earlier, New York, New Jersey, these big metropolitan areas, moving to this area, looking at the supply and demand, the absorption rates out there, and they're seeing that our prices are rising, right? Our prices are rising about double last year from an appreciation standpoint to most of the rest of the country. So they're looking at it from that standpoint. So I'd say, as far as the investment world goes here in Northern Palm Beaches, is we've seen the shift from that value add opportunity to more of that class A, more of that, that easier investment, I like to call it sometimes. It's a little bit less hands-on. So I've kind of seen that shift. And what we've done is we've looked at our investors. There's some investors that are very sold on that B, C, D class, and they're kind of putting the brakes on things as tenants aren't paying rents and things like that. They're looking to see if opportunities are going to come up here in the next 6 months. And if you look back to 2008, what happened is, we've essentially bailed out the financial institutes when everything crashed. For a lot of landlords right now that are in this situation with tenants not paying, they're looking to a lot of these financial institutes to bail them out this time around. So I think it's all going to depend what happens as far as the investment criteria here in Palm Beaches goes with what happens with the financial institutes.
Thanks, Carl. Coming from a different perspective, from the investor's perspective, Carl works with a lot of funds and investors up in Jupiter and Palm Beach and the North Palm Beach. So anybody looking for anything, reach out to my man Carl. And we'll bring it over to Mark. Mark, you've seen tremendous success without giving us all the tools of the trade. Obviously, people are migrating to New Jersey. They want more space because of COVID and whatnot. But moreover than that, what are you doing differently marketing wise, without obviously giving us all your secrets?
So yeah, we use a lot of the technology as well. When I opened up Links as a brokerage 8 years ago, we were one of the first brokerages in the area that was really focused on social media marketing, understanding the platform, understanding the reach that we can have, understanding the pixels to get people to view our ads again. And we've been using that ever since. So we have a huge database of people, both buyers and sellers, that we've been working with over the years to make sure that they get the information that they need. And really, what it comes down to is that people want the correct information about houses, right? Anyone can throw an ad up on Facebook to get a lead in, but when they call or when they look into it and they find out that the information was wrong and it was just a little bit of a bait in terms of getting them to click on it, they get upset and frustrated. So we've made a big focus on making sure the information about the houses we have for sale, about lists that are available, is correct, and that people, when they click on it, are actually getting value. And we found that the value that we're bringing them is making sure that they understand everything there is to know about the process to buy a house as well as the house itself. And for sellers, they really appreciate that because they see that if we list the house properly with the proper information and pictures and videos and put it out there, we can sell the house very quickly. It's when we're not able to get that information, or other agents out there who are not putting the correct information out there, the houses end up sitting, and then they call us 6 months later and say, hey, how do you do it? What is it, your process? So we explain to them, you need to have the best pictures out there and floor plans and videos. And if you need a Matterport, walkthrough, depending on the type of house, we're able to do all that and then use that content for advertisements, not just in a local area, but to Manhattan, right? We can hyper focus on zip codes or areas with our ads. And so we're able to pull in the right type of buyer with the right income for the luxury properties. And we can find the right family demographics for family type houses. One other thing we do is we also go to the internet and find the available data out there on buyers in certain areas. So if we are looking in one of the towns and we see that in the last 6 months there are buyers coming from the Bronx, we're going to focus our ads on the Bronx more than Manhattan, right? So we're able to take all the data that's available to us, use it to our advantage, analyze it, and then make sure our ads are focused on the right areas so that we bring in the right buyers, and the sellers appreciate that. And then the sellers tell their friends, like, hey, look what they're doing. They're doing something different than just every other agent who takes a listing and throws it on the MLS. They're actually taking the data, analyzing what's going on in the marketplace, understanding the supply and demand, putting the ads out to the right type of buyer to make sure we bring the right buyer through the house and get it sold quickly. I wish this happened, as quickly for every listing, and not always is a exact science, but over time we were able to find the right buyers and the right demographic, and now we just gotta get them to fall in love with the house, which we're doing with right now with all the outdoor spaces, outdoor kitchens, pools, highlighting that a little more because people are looking for that, especially now in the summertime, whether they're looking for rentals or for sales. They want that outdoor space. They want to be able to work from home, so work home office, and have enough space for the kids and their friends to come over and play.
Thanks, Mark. And for those of you that can try to follow Mark, I think he does daily Zoom calls, with different people talking about their business model and Jersey. And for those of you out there watching, this will be live on AskTheTitleGuy.com, which is my website. And you can see all of the state of the marketing there. We've done a bunch of them already, and we try to bring different agents and lenders from different areas to talk about the market because it's all interconnected, and a lot of these agents like EXP and other brands work with each other in different markets as feeders. So we have two of those on today, and we'll bring it to Mr. Sell. Peter, besides working very, very hard, like I know you do, what are you doing differently? I know you talked a little bit before about it, but how have you changed your marketing strategy a little bit to adhere to what's going on? And for those of you that don't realize how hard agents work and title and lenders, having conversations all day long, that closing a lot of deals is great, but every deal is that much more difficult than it used to be. Negotiations, mortgages, title, we're all interconnected at some point. And the amount of work that we're putting in to one deal compared to yesteryear is tenfold. So those of you watching, I'm sure you're nodding your head in agreement. It's not that anything has changed in the process. It's just, can't put my finger on it. It's just negotiations and everything involved in the transaction. So closing deals and funding deals is actually a happy medium these days. Even though we're all doing very well, and you have some of the top agents with us today. So, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head. The conversation just takes a little bit longer now. Just with everybody, whether it's clients, whether it's buyers, sellers, whatever it is. But to answer your question about things that I've just done differently in the last several weeks with marketing was we're just getting to know getting to know the market even better than I already do, because it kind of shifted. Well, it definitely shifted. So, I mean, getting to know who was in the hand of these houses, and it was a fantasy in my to really utilize social media and more than the older agents do. And I've always had success.
Peter, if you're having a little technical difficulties, we'll get back to you.
I've been looking on.
There you go. All right, Peter, we'll get back to you in a second with the next question.
Is it better now?
Let's move on to Charlie. Peter, we'll get back to you. Sorry, guys. And my apologies, Peter. So, Charlie, how are you changing your marketing strategy? I know that you're always out on the road, meeting clients and doing presentations and lunch and learns and teaching agents about the mortgage process. So, stuck at home with 2 kids, in the pool, not in the pool. How did you change your marketing to remain successful?
I really, I don't know how it's been, how I've had the same volume coming in without me being out there. I'm starting to make changes now and cutting a lot of that stuff out, and a lot of it can be done on a Zoom call, on just a quick phone call, just keeping in front of current clients instead of going out and trying to get new clients every day, or new referral partners. Most of our business is from agents. So instead of going out and getting new ones, reaching back out to agents that I've liked working with in the past, seeing what I can do to help them out, just asking them what they need. And everybody wants more buyers, or more sellers. So Cardinal, our division of Cardinal Financial is really focused in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Florida. And we have some big offices up there. Things really slowed down for a bunch of the agents in New Jersey and New York. This is in the beginning of March. So I was talking with the other branch managers up there and what we can do to help and how we can connect, have everybody make more, do more business, and not let COVID affect our our incomes. And we've really been making introductions with New York and New Jersey and Connecticut agents, with agents here to get a referral. They know the house is being listed. Where is that person going? Same thing for us. We're marketing to where people are coming from. I'm getting ahead of it. Instead of having the agent refer the deal to me, we're dealing with the consumer directly up front and getting them squared away with their finance. They might not have known about different programs down here in Florida that we have, and we're going ahead and pre-qualifying them and handing them over to agents here instead of the other way around. So most of the time, most of our business has been the realtor says, "Hey, I have somebody who's ready to put in an offer." It hasn't been, it really hasn't been that recently. We've had to do a little bit more on our own, but it's helped our relationships with the current people that we're working with. Giving somebody a deal is great. Having an agent in New Jersey that was a little bit slower for a little while, and being able to see that they're moving to Florida and making a referral fee off of that was nice, and they're continuing to send us business. I think that's pretty much it.
Cool. Thank you, my friend. And Mariana, how have you, with the new development, changed marketing geographically, to different clientele, and you in a new development condo have some challenges, right? Like one of which is people might not want to live in a condo compared to what they did prior to COVID. It just kind of is what it is. And obviously Aston Martin is a development project that's second to none. So how have you dealt with that as far as marketing goes?
Reality is most of our relationships are outside the United States, even much before COVID. And in my particular view, all the agents are my best clients. So what we strategize to do is to have this like one-to-one relationship with the agent, to ask him, what can I do to help you sell? Because in the end, it's all about relationships. And we have been creating these relationships for over 10 years now, and explaining why Miami and why this location and why you should even live in a condo, even though you might not want to share an elevator. All our elevators here are private. So and if you think about it, the area that we are, we call it like the little Manhattan. So you can do basically everything walking, and you're gonna have a yacht in front of you. Yeah, you're gonna share with some people, but there's nothing really to compare here. You cannot really live in a single family home here because there's no more available land. So we haven't felt that. We haven't felt like this, because I feel like just the switch to Miami, it's already so refreshing, that even though it's a condo, people are still thinking that they're gonna have a lot more time to walk around. They don't have to, bump into people to go to every restaurant. So you can just walk to Zuma, that is right behind us, or Novikov, or Miami has responded very quickly to the crisis, and we went back to work a lot faster than we thought that we would, because the governor is from the Navy. Everything here in the city, it's ready to move while a crisis might hit, but we recover very fast. So even if you mention, for instance, we have clients from Brazil, which the exchange rate has been up and down. There's a lot of people looking into a new place to live for good. So I think this is basically what we have been doing, is reaching out to them and asking, how can I help you to make you happy, or to make this happen? Or I think it's a really one-to-one relationship that really makes us different.
Well, that was great. Thank you, Mariana. We're going to go to the third question, and I want everyone to just answer very briefly so we can get to the rest. David, what have you done? Give me one idea of what you've done personally that would change if this ever happened again.
Something we've done that we would change, you're saying?
Yes. So something that you have done personally during this time to deal with the situation that you might change and take as a learning curve.
All right. Well, I think Mariana makes a good point too. Florida is well prepared for a lot of this. We shut her up and let a storm come, and then we know how to bounce back very well. So she was spot on with talking about our communities down here and how we handle things. This was a little unprecedented, but if I was going to change something that we've done in the last few months, it would be, I think I would stay on course a little more. During the thick of it, personally, you sometimes you lose your course and you're not sure which way to go. But I think when if you just, okay, for example, a lot of us wanted to maybe stop marketing, stop spending, stop doing things, and you get close to saying maybe I'll pull back, but you make the decision not to do that. And even though I might have hesitated for a second, not doing it was good. And I think not giving into the fear of it all. So if anything ever happened again that was as catastrophic as this, I think maybe we double down. Maybe you do more marketing and really reach out to people and your clients and your relationships even more than I did, and just make sure that you stay in touch and continue to do the right thing. So it's a tough question, but I think speaking more to everyone and getting on the phone even more would be something I would change.
Well, I think you did. I think you did pretty good recruiting 32 agents when you can't meet anybody in person, especially knowing, and anybody who knows David, he has a amazing personality. So congratulations. And Carl, on to you. What would you change personally, business-wise, if this ever happened again? Can you take your mute off?
There it is.
Thank you, sir.
I think the most important thing we can all take away from everything that's happened is how important it is for all of us to be prepared as agents, because the market can change, the industry can change, pandemics, whatever it is, we can enter all kinds of different situations. It's really important to have those models in place that we are prepared for these changes to take place. So rather than reacting to a situation, we're ready when it is coming. And I think the most important thing we can keep doing is continue our business as if nothing happened. And what this showed, this entire process, is the value of time. Because while we aren't going out having coffee meetings, lunch meetings, things like that, which is part of our regular day-to-day business, we're still touching the same amount of people, if not more, by valuing our time with phone calls, Zoom calls, texting. The technology we have today, it really allows us to cut back on the time we have to spend doing the X, Y, and Z, old school, you want to call it, ways of doing business, which allows us a lot more opportunity for what we want to do with our lives.
Thank you. And I tend to agree. Yet I always have this conversation, and me and Charlie actually talked about it last night, in how it's amazing that technology has come so far in the time that we've been doing our businesses. Yet at the end of the day, we're getting more emails, more phone calls, and everything else. And there's just is what it is, I guess. So Mark, on to you. I think you kind of changed gears into EXP during right before this happened, correct?
Yeah, so we shifted to EXP at the end of February and first week in March, and then 2 weeks later, the entire area here was shut down, and you couldn't do anything. So we were shut down like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. We had a team meeting on Thursday, and our big discussion was what other value can we bring to our clients and to the community during this time. I started a morning show every morning for 8 weeks, where we interviewed top CEOs, executives from both real estate industry, small business, even some hospitals, to make sure that we brought value to our followers. and gave them information they were looking for. Every day we would get questions and make sure the next day we would answer them. Or find an executive or find someone who's an expert in that field to share information with them. And like we bring value to the real estate business, now we brought value to them in just life and everything that was going on. So we really spent a lot of time the first 3 or 4 weeks focusing on what information do our customer base want and need. And once we're able to figure that out, our agents were busy as can be, answering phone calls, emails, text messaging. We did a lot of Facebook Lives. We did a ton of Facebook Live open houses, and it kind of just made our client base realize that we are valuable to them as experts in the area. And that's really what just kept propelling us forward. And my agents really felt good knowing that, people were calling us, thanking us for helping their businesses or helping their friend's business or helping get information to them that they needed. And so we just continued to do that. And then once the market started coming back, we were able to just hit the ground running, and we've been doing great ever since.
And watch out for Mark Stein and Lynx coming down to Florida in a town near you. Peter, same question.
Okay, is my service better? Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you okay. Sorry about that. As you freeze again.
No, it's okay. So yeah,
There we
just
go.
real quick, just go on to that question. Okay. I would just say don't take a busy market for granted. And as we saw, business could just stop, overnight, and the simple things become very difficult to get, like title searches done. And it wasn't a problem with you guys; it was excellent. But always at the last minute for closings that were supposed to happen the following week. Always try to wait till you can. That was my biggest point.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. And Charlie, on to you.
I'm going back to really the way we started in this business. Started in doing refis and inbound phone calls and taking those leads and turning them over to agents. And I'm trying to be a lot more proactive now than reactive. And real estate's a 24/7 game, and I'm really surprised I've been able to be at home and take an hour off here and as long as you're getting right back to the client, able to spend time with family, because we're working all weekend too. The phone rings on the weekend. Somebody needs something answered. You got to get right back to them. But getting in front of it and actually going out and reaching out to the buyer and introducing them to the agent is something that I'm going to spend a lot more time doing. Whether this pandemic, when it's over or if it comes back, I mean, it's really. I'm happy to reach out and make the introduction up front instead of the other way around, just dealing with the client after they've already been working with an agent and found a house. I'm happy to answer those questions up front and actually make introductions to agents that I work with. So I'm gonna keep doing that.
Cool. Thanks, my man. Appreciate it. And finally, Mariana, briefly, what have you learned? What will you change if, God forbid, this happens again, or there's a shutdown or a catastrophe? How would you amend your style a little bit?
I think we are always, as human beings, scared of the unknown. So when we first said, well, we're gonna have to be at home, I remember thinking, oh, it's gonna be a week, let's have fun. And I remember one night, I woke up from my sleep thinking, and I had a dream that everything was open. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't have time to do, everything that I had on my mind that I wanted to do. So this is what I think. We will always be different, thinking that we can reinvent ourselves. We can do things differently, and we can do things better. And we can put effort in things that really matter. As Charlie was saying, I also have 2 girls at home. And I think this, it was the first time that either me or my husband, we haven't traveled for the entire month. So, it's all being very fulfilling, I think, for all of us. Really realizing that we can do things, a little more concise, with less time, but even better, because it's all about what we can offer to one another. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Mariana. So we're going to go to, well, let me give you my insight on what I would do differently. Nothing. I've been working 17, 18-hour days just like I would before. And the market was geared up for this with low mortgage rates, an influx of buyers from all over the country to South Florida. Luckily enough, Kensington Vanguard and I do the entire country. So if it's not busy in New York City, it's busy in Jersey or Connecticut or Florida. So, being able to do everything, commercial, residential, 1031 on a national platform allows us to separate ourselves from the competition. And for those of you who know me or don't know me, I'm a guy that works 17-hour days, and my staff answers emails and, within minutes. And that's what we do, and that's how we've separated ourselves. So we really came together as a group and a team, and my team of 10 people just in Florida are all over the place, but nothing changes. We're paperless. Technology doesn't change. As Peter said, we were able to get searches where other people can't. It just, at this time really separates the men from the boys, and allows you to separate yourself, not only individually, but as a company. And hopefully the clients and the customers and the eventual buyers and sellers remember that for the future, to know that, some of us had to put family and other things aside to maintain business and progress, not just stand still. And hopefully those of which have worked with us before have seen that. If you have not, you should give us a shot. So after that, let's go back to quick individual questions. We're going over a little time, so let's try to make it brief. David, you're very bright.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
There you go. There you
I
go.
don't know
Much
why.
better.
Was it like that the whole time?
Nope, only half the time, but you look great. So,
All right, good. Hey, I like Peter's answer, by the way. Don't take a good market for granted, right? What we all should do is save a little bit more money, maybe. So if when the market goes down, we can stay home for 2 months and not work.
Would be nice. But
Yeah.
David, how has the luxury market in Broward been? How is it now? And quickly, new development business, you kind of touched on it before. The development projects that you represent and the developers are at a price point that's kind of unheard of in the Broward market. It's a little west in the Davie area, I believe your new project is, but you sold a ton of units at the Auberge, which is a trophy project closer to the water in East Fort Lauderdale. So tell us about very quickly what's going on.
All right. So, yeah, you're right. We touched about luxury a little bit before, and Charlie said some of the same stuff about finding the right buyer and the right demographic, and being able to isolate them using technology. So that helped drive some luxury. New York, people were closing businesses, maybe never to open them, maybe to move them. I had a client call me and say, hey, I was going to work 5 more years, but you know what? I'm not anymore. I want to buy a nice house. I want to retire. So that helped luxury. Thank you for giving me and the Auberge a shout out. We sold the most in there last year. It's a condo building, but no one really had fears of condo the last couple of months either. We've had a lot of showings. We have 3 listings in there. And maybe because it's only 160 or so units, so it's a little more boutique. And down here in Florida, our buildings are newer. So we have a lot of semi-private and private elevators. So luxury condo was good. And then on the other side of our world, we have 100 condos in Davie. Phase 1 is closing next week. And you're right, it's a price point that's very hard to touch. So we had success selling those out. We're launching phase 2. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago. And that market in itself is an anomaly because you have 80,000 students there and you have hospitals being built and young professionals. So I'm trying to talk fast to get it all out for you, Glenn. But I just think in general, Florida's really benefited from a lot of what's going on, and both markets, both sides of the world, we're very strong. We're very strong.
Thank you. And thanks. Make sure you take David's information down. Can you pull up the information real quick? David Martyr, broker owner of Level Realty. If you're looking to move to Fort Lauderdale, he's your guy. So thanks, David, for joining us as always.
Thank you, Glenn.
Let's move on to Carl. Carl, you touched on it a little bit before, but you deal with a lot of investors and investment opportunities for smaller commercial, residential, mixed use, and what have you. So the market is always changing, and buyers are always changing. How have you changed your marketing strategy, basically to adhere to your clients and what they're looking for? Is it a bigger cap rate? Do you look for more upside? How are you handling that side of things?
Yeah, Glenn, great question. So basically what I've seen in my market and, with my client base is, because what everyone's touched upon this entire time is we're seeing that huge influx of out-of-state buyers, right? And it's the same thing for out-of-state investors. So, for the average investor that was local to our area, they were used to, an X cap rate. But over, the past couple of years with all these investors relocating money here, our cap rates have compressed over the last couple of years. So for those clients, it might not be the same, but that out-of-state, investor that used to invest in New York at a 4 or 5 cap rate to invest in South Florida at a 6, 7, 8, that's great for them. So what we've done is we've shifted our marketing from that more of that local investor to that out-of-state investor, like we've done with our residential sales as well. They've kind of crossed paths at this point. And what we've seen for those individuals that are more into the rehab side of things, flipping houses, there's a huge opportunity right now. Now the deals are hard to find. Most of that stuff we're doing off market, calling sellers, sending letters, things like that, looking for distressed properties. But that turnkey, finished, flipped, rehabbed, whatever you want to call it, property is going and flying off the shelf right now. That house you showed on the American Dream, we were flipping a while back. It was about a 9-month project. That just came to market 2 weeks ago, 1 day of showings, multiple offers, because it's a turnkey product. And that's what a lot of these individuals relocating from different areas are looking for. They're looking for something turnkey.
Thank you. Carl with EXP. If you want to reach out to Carl, you can reach out to Carl Gentile. He handles North Palm Beach into Jupiter at EXP Realty. So Carl Gentile, thank you for joining us and your insight. Let's move on to Mark. So Mark, you touched on it a little bit before, but boutique and specialized firms either flourish or struggle during a busy market. How have you been able to, you made a change right before all of this happened, which was either a blessing or not a blessing based on your work ethic and how you were willing to grow and work in the trenches from home in different areas and stay communicative, which I know you do with your agents. And you have a great relationship with your agents and they do with you as well. So how have you been able to make the move affect your business? And what was the feeling like? Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening right now. I just made the biggest move of my life. And is it going to kill me? Is it going to make me better? How did you handle it?
So being in real estate for the last 19 years, I've had to shift many times with the market, with business. And one of the first things that I was taught in business was be ready to morph at any time. So, one of the things I always looked at over the years was making sure that my business was aligned properly with where the market is, with where the world is, making sure that, my focus was always on income producing activities, right? So over the last 2 years, my focus became running a business, right? And not actually doing business. So I spent about, 14, 15 months researching what to do, how to change, and EXP was a decision I made, back in December. It took about 60 days to put everything in motion. And the reason why I made that decision was EXP, it was an opportunity for me to refocus back on business and focus on my agents. So instead of having to run a business and worry about all the legalities and compliance and liabilities and everything else, I can now just focus on what my agents need in order to succeed, right? How can I help them more in order for them to make more money? And when I was able to realize that EXP had the services that I needed, so I didn't have to personally do it, it was just the right choice. And making the switch over was just amazing because they have resources available to my agents, all times of the day. The amount of classes and education they have, the services they have, the network that they have has just helped us grow tremendously. And now we actually have a real network of referral partners that we get a lot of clicks on our ads from people who like, oh, I was thinking about Jersey, but I'm really looking to move somewhere else. Have now reached out to our agents and we're referring them around the country. Just this past week alone, I think we sent out 3 referrals for $1 million properties around the country. So, having those resources available to me and my agents was just incredible during this time. The end of the day, it's really just comes down to the simple thing how I run my business. Do good for others, right? Do what's right for the client, making sure that they have what they need, that you're doing the right thing for the deal, even if it means you not getting a paycheck on this one deal, you'll get it on the next one. Making sure that people respect who you are. We built relationships with people over the last 20 years of me running my business here, being one of the top agents, then deciding to open up my own brokerage and now going to EXP. I've had families that have done multiple deals with me and my agents over the last 5, 7, 10 years because they appreciate the fact that we're going to always treat them right and do the right thing for them to get the deal done. And that's how we've just run our business. And now with EXP is just taking it to a whole nother level. And now we're growing our teams, throughout the country. We will be in Florida soon. And we're working with a lot of developers all over to get developments, land and developments built over the next few years. So exciting times coming up.
Thank you, Mark. And if you want to reach out to Mark Stein at eXp Realty and links as the CEO, Mark Stein. Thank you very much for your time as always and your insight. Moving on to Peter. Peter, what challenges are you facing right now? Low inventory. You don't have a big team. You're a hardworking guy. You make deals happen, and I've dealt with you on numerous occasions. And you handle your clientele very well, always being there for them. So, but what challenges do you face in this market?
Probably the biggest thing is low inventory, lack of options for people to choose from. And it's frustrating when you have a buyer and there's very little inventory for them to choose from, and you go into a property where there's 5 offers off the bill and a low down payment. So if there was more inventory for people to choose from, it would be a lot easier and better. That's probably my biggest challenge, which is why I'm trying to get listings, and then this way I can kind of control the inventory a little bit better. Because I think if you have the listings, you have a leg up with the buyers. You have a big team. I only got 2 guys with me, hardworking guys, but they're new in the business and they're just, getting their feet wet and everything. So it's to me, but yeah, I mean, they do a great job with the buyers, and and I assist them every step of the way. It's not like a traditional team where here, you take the buyer, me at the end involved. That's the way I like to challenge them, because they tell me the same thing. They go into a property with, I think my buyer's agent, Shane, the last offer he put in, there was 11 other offers on the property. And did everything we can for our client, and that, it just takes a little to get into that driver's.
All right. Thank you, Peter. Sorry for your technical issues. Peter Contraforis. Peter is actually a great guy to talk to. So if you're interested in real estate, give Peter a call. New York, New Jersey to Mr. Sell. Peter, thank you for your time. Charlie, we'll move on to you. So Charlie, you're a smart guy. We've been doing business for a long, long time. I know you're very critical about your business and how you handle things and make sure that you're always there for your clients. Where do you see opportunity in this market that maybe other lenders aren't really concentrating on? You know, I deal with a lot of banks around the country on the title side, and you know, we go into the refis and it's low and the interest rates and the programs and now pre-quals and everybody wants a purchase. And, you know, what are you thinking about differently for Palm Beach County? And, you know, I've seen it. We've spoken about it. You know, it's not your grandmother's Boca anymore. You know, there's a lot of entrepreneurial money coming into Palm Beach, you know, on a younger level with families as compared to used to be a place to retire, a second home community. Now you're finding a lot of people moving, especially from the Northeast, to places like Boca, West Palm, Delray, with their families. So what have you done to deal with this, and why do you think this is happening?
I mean, it's a great place to live. You got everything down here. We're seeing people not have uh, the restraints of having to be an hour and a half away from the city. Being able to get rid of those commutes, work from home. We've seen a lot of positive stuff come um, out of COVID. I mean, it's terrible, but it's changed the way people are going to do business for a long time and where they can live. Like you were saying, it's not the same Boca that it used to be. It's and Palm Beach is very, very young. I mean, there are a lot of older people here, but there's also inventory that is turning over. You know, condos. There's people that are renting that didn't know that they could buy. They only have a a small down payment. The stuff that's in their price range is a condo. There didn't used to be options for them. Recently, we've even been able to do FHA spot approvals for people who don't necessarily have a 720, 740 credit score. They're still able to buy a condo with 3% down. We've actually had appraisers come back to us say, "Hey, you ordered an FHA appraisal on this property. What's going on? The building's not FHA approved." I said, "Well, it doesn't have to be. We can go in and do a spot approval, and most of these buildings have passed." There's also conventional financing with 3% down in those as well. That's just one thing that we've added to to our product line, that most of our business was conventional financing, 20% down, 800 credit score borrowers. Anybody can do that deal. We've had to add add some benefit to our agents and help them get extra that extra deal a month by offering a product like that. But I mean, really, we're seeing the biggest thing that we're seeing is my business partner Matt. He's from Brooklyn, went to Cornell. His friends from high school and his friends from college, a lot of them are very successful entrepreneurs up there, and he's had them reach out to him on Facebook and just say, "Hey, you live in Delray? That's crazy. I'm moving to Boca." They had posted that they were moving to Miami, but that Palm Beach County really seems to be a place where you can get a little bit more right now. And it's not your grandmother's Boca anymore. There's cool stuff to do, and we're seeing buildings all over the place. There is office space available at a lot cheaper rate, and people don't need as much space either. You have to have, I mean, for us, we have to have a physical location. And a lot of people would like to have a physical location. They just don't need 10,000 square feet anymore. They can do it with 1,500 or 2,000, and there's plenty of that space available. They're able to move down, continue business as usual through Zoom calls, start their businesses here, and save on the taxes. So we're seeing a lot of them move down, and love working with them.
Thank you, Charlie. Once again, Charlie Weiss at Cardinal Financial. Charlie and Matt, two great guys to talk to as not only mortgage consultants, but kind of concierge mortgage bankers, leading the way to take a client, find out what their needs are, and be able to, execute on the needs that the client has. So once again, Charlie Weiss, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Glenn.
Finally, my pleasure. Finally, we bring you Mariana. Mariana, what have you seen differently from South America? I know you spoke about being Brazilian. What have you seen with new buyers wanting, what conversations have you had with these buyers, either Zoom or over the phone, about condo versus single family? And unfortunately, the dollar is been going down. The value of the Brazilian dollar compared to the United States wasn't as strong as it used to be. In the same sense, as I said earlier, we have a lot of clients that are now cash buyers from Brazil, might have brought pre-construction or what have you to get their money out of the South American countries and park it here. They are super excited now because values are continuously going up. And a lot of them are refinancing and buying more investment properties. So what are you seeing from the South American countries, single family, condo, what have you?
So I'm not only responsible for Aston Martin, but I am the person. We have the Miami Real Estate podcast, which I do with Omar, with the marketing team, that represent, general real estate and everything like the Fort Lauderdale, the Osho Conrad, that I had the opportunity to have you guys there with me. So we're right in the middle of like receiving a lot of information because we're, giving a lot of information. And especially the Brazilians, that has this level of, that do speak English, that have been to United States a couple of times. They, as I was mentioning, because we come from a country that there's like crisis all the time, these people have been prepared for something like this because these people are like watching the market. So you said, correctly, these people had purchased things before here when the dollar was like 2.5. Now the dollar is 5. They're refinancing and, sending a little money back home, but then reinvesting here. And the Brazilians, because of like the inflation rate and because of our interest rate, they are, they get ready for the move. Of course, like the insecurities on our government, which is another conversation, maybe like got into the way. But historically, the Brazilians, they recover like really fast. And this is what we're seeing right now after this 60 days that, people are ready to like restart looking and then, probably buying something even bigger than they had in the past because they had an amazing track success. Can you imagine like you triple your money in 5 years? So it's very rarely that you can get something like this. So not only the Brazilians, but like we've seen a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Venezuelans with that profile. So overall, it's been good.
Thank you, Mariana. So if you're interested in real estate in Miami, if you're interested in learning about the Aston Martin, I don't know how many units you have left. Let's get in touch with Mariana Lima from Cervera Real Estate. Mariana, thank you very much for joining us once again.
You're going.
So panel, I really appreciate your time and your insight. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some top agents from different states and different areas. So thank you all for joining us. Once again, I'm the Title Guy. Go to my website at askthetitleguy.com or follow my page on Facebook that you're watching now. Feel free to share and post and comment and what have you. And we'll see you soon. Stay safe out there.